You are watching Sports and Sorts live on YouTube. That's 75% sports, 25% sorts. And here are your hosts, Shane and the Bry Man.
Yeah, Brian's clearing his throat. He's getting ready. This is Sports and Sorts. We're a Monday morning. I am one of your hosts. My name is Shane.
I'm the Bry Man.
And we have a few things to talk about today. We're going to get into the Yankees, state of the Yankees. We'll also touch on the schedule release for the Bills and the Dolphins. We'll briefly touch on that. Of course, we'll have to get into some other Tua topics. And we will also get into our Mount Rushmore of Hall of Fame, of athletes that did not make the Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame snubs.
Yes. So we will get into that. And I'm sure a little bit more. So we'll spin the wheel at the end as well, of course. Always.
Oh, sure. Sure.
All right. So I'm going to open up YouTube here and give us, because what everybody has to do here is they got to, give a little like, smash the subscribe button, slap the notification bell.
Oh, sure.
Do all those things. And also, let me see here. I gotta share this real quick onto our social media platforms. You can find Twitter at Shane and Bryman, Facebook.com/Shane and the Bryman. They're a little different, but also similar. So let's get into our state of the Yankees.
The state of the Yankees.
All right. Where did that go? There it is. Okay. State of the Yankees. We have a big thing that happened. A very big thing. You'll be able to hear it kind of in the background.
But he was not able to get the slider away, saw another one, and then finally hung one. And Michael lost the vocal cord.
Into the second deck. And he knew it when he hit it. The crowd knew it when he hit it. The Blue Jays knew it when he hit it. And he puts it off into the night as the Yankees beat the Blue Jays by a score of 6-5 in dramatic.
And who did that? It was
The Judge.
the Yankee moment for Mr. Aaron Judge.
No, it only took him 5 years.
Against a division rival.
Against a good name brand reliever, too. A very good reliever who clearly didn't have his stuff, but hey, make no excuses. That ball was absolutely tattooed.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, listen, Aaron Judge was in need of a moment. I had been on him for years for not having that moment.
Uh-huh.
And he finally had one. My big complaint about him is, yes, I've certainly made mention of the walk-off hits and lack thereof, because that was still technically his first walk-off hit. Remember, he's had a walk-off walk and he's had a walk-off sac fly. Mm-hmm. That was his first walk-off hit of his career. It really was. It's crazy to think that. But at the same time, I just want him to be more clutch. That's really what I want, especially when, and we don't say this about every Yankee player because it's not the responsibility of every Yankee player to be like that. But if you're going to be the face of the franchise and you're going to get paid $35 to $40 million a year, that has to be a quality that I think you have, especially if you're a New York Yankee. By the way, being clutch is really just an extension of what you do normally. Like for Derek Jeter's clutchness was just him being the same player in the postseason that he was in the regular season. Mm-hmm. It wasn't really about, having to hit 400 in the postseason and, not get a bunch of runs. Just play your game.
Yeah.
And the same thing can be said of Aaron Judge, because, he has the numbers. Look at the numbers that he puts up every year. If he carried that into the postseason, be fine. The other issue
so
with
the problem with all that is that when you look at that, when you have hitters that struggle in the postseason, they're typically the hitters that are bang or bust. Now, Aaron Judge is not a boom or bust guy because he does get a decent amount of hits as well. But he also strikes out a lot.
Strikes out a
So when you strike out a lot, the pitching gets tougher. It gets a little harder, and will expose those holes that you have in your swing. So therefore, he's open to not doing quite as well as he does in the regular season.
Yeah, that's true. It's definitely true. My other issue with him is, we've talked about this before, is that a lot of times his numbers are hollow. So, he'll put up these, again, if you're not a Yankee fan, you don't watch every game like you and I do. I mean, I don't know about you. I pretty much watch every game.
I haven't been able to watch as much the last couple years as I used to. Like I used to watch 150 games a year.
Yeah.
But now it's, the games that I don't watch, I still usually watch the full highlights, right after. Because
it's rare for me to miss one.
Yeah.
But what I can tell you, and having watched as many games as I watch, is that a lot of his numbers come either early in a game before it's decided, or late in a game when it's already kind of decided. So, I don't want to call them garbage time stats. That's not totally fair, but a lot of his production is in, less than crucial moments. It's been a little better this year. There's been a couple of instances that I can point to where he's actually, had some big hits in some pretty big spots. And look, that's one of the big humps you want him to get over.
Well, not only that, but I think another thing is that this is one of those years where, he has always been kind of a little more vocal than, past like Yankee leaders and things like that. Like Jeter was never all that vocal about especially on the field, like talking smack. He doesn't have a problem with talking smack on the field and doing things like flexing and stuff like that when he's going to like, he kind of relishes in that. And this year he basically said, I'm not accepting that number that the Yankees are offering me. I'm going to bet on myself. So far he's stepped up to the plate and done pretty well. And then he's having his, so far, because he has this walk-off home run and his numbers are, he's batting like 300 and his numbers across the board are up there for MVP caliber. So therefore he is talking the talk and walking the walk.
And as for the team in general, let's talk about what this start historically has meant. So they are 25-9. They are the only team remaining still in single-digit losses. The next closest team is 12.
They just the last 10. They're 7-3. They've had a good week.
Right. They had the stretch where they had won 11 in a row at one point. So they've been good. I think they've only lost one series this entire season, which was that Orioles series kind of earlier in the year, which at the time was embarrassing. In hindsight, it's still embarrassing. Listen, you lost one series so far this year. And honestly, maybe in a weird way, I'm almost kind of happy that it was to a bad team as opposed to a good team. Like they beat any good team that's been put in front of them. They beat. Yeah. Here's historically though, there have been, I don't have it in front of me, but since 2007, there were 3 teams that had similar starts to this.
Okay.
All 3 teams went on to win the World Series. Now, so there's, I'm not saying there's any pressure because of that, but let's be honest. When you have this kind of a start to a season, you're now they could easily go like 3-7 over the course of their next 10, and next thing you know, like that whole stat doesn't even really matter anymore. But at this point in time, where they are, this is a good. I mean, you're through what 30 some odd games of the season. This is a good, decent sample size, right? Oh, yeah. I mean, we're not at the 1 quarter mark yet, but
we're close.
We're getting there. We're close. After their next couple series, you will be at the 1 quarter mark. So, and that next series, you got Baltimore for 4. Let's be honest, you got to at least take 3 or 4 there. And then I don't know, you might have the Rays after that. I can't remember. There might be another team in between them and the Rays actually. So
I can tell you right now,
I can tell you while you're looking that up, they're already halfway through their schedule with Toronto, and they are 6-3 against the Blue Jays, which is a really good start.
Yeah. So right now tonight, I mean, they have the 4-game series with the Orioles,
right?
And
in Baltimore.
Then they have a 3-game series with the White Sox.
Then the Rays, right?
Nope, and then the Orioles again.
Oh, then the Orioles again. Then the Rays.
Then the Rays. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So it's like
4 games against the Orioles, 3 against the White Sox, 3 against the Orioles, and then 4 against the Rays.
All right. So if we're being like in my opinion. So it's
without
sorry.
a break. There is
So,
zero
no,
breaks in there.
They have no breaks for a while. They had like that 23 games in 22 days stretch because they had those rainouts. So hold on, say that again. So 4 against the Orioles.
Yep, 3 against the Sox, 3 against the Orioles, 4 against the Rays.
So excluding that Rays series, these next 3 series, you've got to take at least 3 of 4 from Baltimore, 2 or 3 from the White Sox.
Oh, there you are.
3, 4, 5. So you got to win 7 of.
You keep going in and out.
Oh, sorry. You've got to win like 7 of 10 games. You got to win 7 of those 10. I mean, right?
Yeah.
You could lose 1 game per series.
If you go 7-3 every week.
Well, yeah.
I mean, every 10 days, like that's. I mean, you're winning 70% of your games, and you're guaranteed to at least probably winning the division, unless some other team is going bananas. Because 70% is pretty insane.
Yeah, my only concerns about the team are still kind of the ones that we spoke to in past weeks. I still have some.
The crazy thing is that there's ways to improve this team.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, listen, despite the home run that he hit yesterday, Joey Gallo is still a problem in left field. I would like to see him replaced with Andrew Benintendi. I think that's a perfect fit. I think that's a perfect fit. He's defensively just as good, and
he's been struggling over like the last 10 days too. He's been kind of struggling over the last 10 days.
Who, Benintendi?
Yeah,
he had really nowhere to go but down. He had a torrid start. He was in like 400 at one point.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm sure he's still hitting in the 300s, but
I think so. I think he's like I think he's at like 320 or something like that.
He's still, but keep in mind he's in a lineup with little to no protection either. So he'd go into this Yankee lineup and he'd be a guy lower in the order who you would actually probably try to pitch to.
Yeah.
As opposed to try.
Well, you could put him anywhere you want. You could put him in the 2 hole.
You could.
You could put him in the 7 hole. You could put him in the 5 hole. I mean, he can put the bat on the ball, and that's what you want. Especially in this lineup. Especially in this lineup. I mean, you could really put him kind of anywhere, front, middle, or back of the lineup. And
2, 5, 6, and 7, I think would be good spots for him. Yeah.
I mean, because he is a guy who can get the bat on the ball. You get him in the leadoff spot. He could go anywhere in that order, minus like you don't really want him in the 3 hole. You don't really want him in the 4 hole. But like 5, 6, 7, 8, even 9. I mean, you're obviously, unless you're looking to like have like your catcher be the automatic out in the 8th hole.
Right.
Because that is a weakness right there. But I don't think we need to address that this year. Because
it's a problem.
As long as they're defensively good, you don't need a catcher that can hit. Because if he's your automatic out, and they're just going to be firing fastballs off to him, he's going to get a hit from time to time. Because it's how it is. I mean, they're not worse than pitchers hitting, so it's not a huge address. Because I would rather have very good defense behind the dish right now than having that offensive guy.
They don't at the moment need the offense. So
especially if they address like Gallo and get somebody like Benintendi. If they get someone like Benintendi, that's like that's a huge addition, because you're getting a very good outfielder who doesn't have the greatest arm, but a good outfielder who has a great bat, who can put the bat on the ball. And that's what you want in the Yankee lineup. You need more of those guys. So that'd be fantastic. And then you could also, if you can do something with Hicks, which is unlikely, or just
you don't lose the lefty bat either with Benintendi. He's lefty, so he replaces Gallo as a lefty.
And if you decide you want to do something with Florial and get rid of Hicks, I mean, you kind of have it you already have it in your organization. So.
Well, so this was one of the things that I was talking about with the guys over the weekend on the Yankee text chat thing was my big problem with this team is when you think about it from the outfield perspective. I mean, because Stanton doesn't play outfield full time. Yeah.
He's been hot the last 10 days too.
Well, you know how he is.
Him and Judge are like hot, like at the same time.
Right, which is scary. Yeah. That's like here's what I would say about that. If those two ever got hot in October, it's game over.
Yeah.
They're gonna win. They're gonna win it all. If those two are hot in October, they're gonna win the whole thing. They're gonna win. To quote Jake Taylor, they're gonna win the whole fucking thing.
You're not wrong.
If they, all right. But going back, so honestly, Judge is the only viable starting outfielder for this team, if we're being really honest about it, because Hicks is a fourth outfielder at best.
Yeah.
Okay. Gallo is a disaster.
I mean,
and Stanton doesn't play full time.
I mean, over the last 10 games, you got to give Hicks a little credit. He's batting 59.
0.59?
Yeah.
That's
over the last 10 games.
My God.
He has 1 hit and 17 at-bats.
I don't even think he's batting my son's weight.
He did walk 3 times, though. His on-base percentage is 200.
It's hard to watch, man. Him and Gallo are hard to watch. They really are. But isn't that bad, though? Like, isn't that weird, too?
At least Gallo's batting 300 over the last 10 games.
It's kind of funny. Like, when you go through parts of this lineup, you wonder how they're scoring as many runs as they are, because Donaldson, to this point, has not been great. Hicks is a...
You keep clipping the mic. You can't talk directly into the mic.
And you've got okay, sorry, let me repeat that.
Yeah.
So what I said was, it's hard to believe that the offense has been as productive as it has been when you consider that to this point Donaldson has not been great. Hicks is awful. I mean, Gallo's a disaster.
Donaldson's another one who's been coming a little bit lately.
And yes, he has. And the catching platoon is what it is. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're like a combined 200 hitter, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's like, how are they
not
actually... even. Yeah, no, right. Like 189, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, how are they? Again, they're living and dying by the home run. But I will say this past week, though, they actually have gotten some good situational hitting as opposed to just hitting the ball out of the park.
Yeah. I mean, just so everybody can hear this, Joey Gallo is batting 202 on the season. You remember how hot Aaron Hicks was to start the season? Yeah. He's batting like 330 or 350 or something ridiculous like that. His batting average right now is 212. But he has an on-base percentage of 358.
He does walk. Yeah,
he has an on-base percentage of 358, and that's what Cashman likes.
Yes, he does. Yeah. Analytics, baby.
He has 22 strikeouts and 19 walks.
Oh. Wow.
He just does not put the bat on the ball very often.
No, he's a no-contact guy. And when he does make contacts, it's just like these pop-ups. Oh,
he has 1 home run. But you look at him, like, he's got 7 RBIs. 7 on the season.
It's frustrating. He's frustrating.
IKF has more RBIs than him on the season.
There's another guy.
The 2 catchers have more RBIs than him on the season.
Let's just remind everyone that Brian Cashman so badly needed to have Isaiah Kiner-Falefa that he was willing to absorb $50 million of Josh Donaldson at 36 years old for 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And what has IKF been so far this season? He's a guy who's, first of all, he's very streaky, so he fits very well with this team.
He's proven that he's a third baseman.
Right. He is a borderline defensive liability at this point at short. 5 errors through this, not great.
Yeah.
Listen, I think the one thing you can say is that at this moment, the Yankees are probably sending 2 starting pitchers to the All-Star game in Cole and Cortez.
Yeah, Cortez has been a beast.
I'm just really hoping this is who he is. Let's also remind everyone that he's still only 27 years old. That needs to be a guy that you re-sign immediately. And I think Nestor likes being a Yankee.
Oh, I mean, if there's ever a guy that likes being a Yankee, that guy is like, he is Yankee. I mean, he's got that gruffness to him, but he's also kind of jovial and like, he's got that nice stat. Like he's
the most likable guy on the team.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
In fact,
he's the most relatable.
He is. I made the decision yesterday, by the way, that if they do resign him, because I don't want to do it right now because it's a big investment.
You buy an authentic jersey?
I am going to get an authentic 65 Nestor Cortez jersey. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Because he might, honestly, this is a team where there's there's guys I like, but not love. Like I like/love Anthony Rizzo. I'm borderline there with him. Yeah. Nestor might be the guy on this team that I really love.
Yeah.
I do love Michael.
We would love it. And we'd love Rizzo more if this was, if this was like 5 years ago. Yeah. That's funny.
I do love Michael King though. I love him.
Oh, of course.
Michael King.
Yeah. He's got a great name too.
I just don't want them to wear him out. Like I think Chad Green got worn out, that's kind of the only thing that worries me. All right.
Chad Green got worn out, but he's still not doing bad.
He's scary when he comes in though. Like him and
Sometimes.
Chapman, I get a little.
Well, I think that's more of just because he's so many batters have seen him. His repertoire isn't as like.
Yeah.
You kind of know what you're coming into.
Yeah. He's got a hard, dense fastball. Like you know what's coming with Chad Green. I mean, it's.
And then with Nestor and Garrett Cole.
How about Clay Holmes though? Clay Holmes
is also a beast. Yeah, those two guys.
That's a find.
They are the stars of your bullpen right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Holmes and King.
King. Yeah. Oh yeah. Here's the thing that I'm so relieved that we are in the last year of Chapman's contract because to me that tells me that in October, with him being almost done as a Yankee, that they're not going to be beholden to making him the closer.
Nope.
Boone will go with whomever. I hope Boone will go with whomever he feels is the right guy to close a game.
Yeah, I would hope so.
And let's be honest, in October, you're going to be playing in closer games. You're going to be playing in 1-run games in the ninth inning. Do you trust Aroldis Chapman in a play? I don't even trust him in a game
right
in
now.
May.
No,
I don't trust him in May. You gonna put him in October in a 1-run game?
My guess is that he'll start figuring it out when it starts warming up, and he'll get a little bit better. And then as it gets a little colder later on, he's going to be shaky again.
You want Chapman in a game 6 against the Astros trying to close out an ALCS or an ALDS? Fuck that shit.
I would bring him in for left-handers.
Yeah. I was so funny. I was thinking that yesterday. I'm like, Chapman just needs to be the lefty specialist.
Yeah.
But even then, his control is so wacky.
Right.
Here's the thing. It's a double-edged sword with him, and it's not a good double-edged sword because one edge of the sword is that if you don't pitch him enough, he gets really out of whack.
Right.
And you see a lot of control issues. If you do pitch him enough, he gets hit.
And he gets tired.
He
doesn't have that 101 mile an hour fastball. Right. It starts going to be 97, which is very hittable.
It's hittable, and when he does throw, if he does rear back to throw 100, it's usually over the catcher's head.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just no control.
Right.
No control at all.
He's not as young as he used to be. So, it's one of those things that, I think when it comes down to it, he's going to have to be more of a lefty specialist. You might be able to keep him in for 2 batters because he does if he's on.
Well, what do they have, the 3-batter minimum, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
So you gotta have him at least.
Are they going to do that? Are they going to do that in the playoffs?
I don't know. I think so. Wouldn't it apply?
I don't know.
The only thing that
I honestly don't know because I know that sometimes they do rules differently.
By the way, in the playoffs, is the man on second ghost runner?
I don't think
done with.
I think so. I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't think they do it like that. I think they're just doing it to keep regular season games going, moving, and keeping them more exciting. But yeah, as of right now, I mean, Nestor Cortez leading the team in strikeouts.
Yeah.
He's
7 yesterday, right? I mean, he's awesome, dude. What is
49 Ks in 40 innings.
I think he has the second best ERA in
baseball.
I
mean, he's got a 1.35 ERA. He's got to be up there.
Yeah, I think it's number 2 overall in the AL. Well, I think Kopech actually had and still has a lower ERA.
Oh, does he?
Who they pitched to. Kopech, the only reason the White Sox lost yesterday was Kopech just had that one inning where he was completely out of whack and he's just walking the whole park.
Which will happen with him from time to time.
Yeah, if he ever harnesses it though, like if he just gets it under control, that guy's dangerous.
Yeah.
Wasn't that one of the guys in the Red Sox pen for a while there? And he's turned into a
Well, they were always saying because he threw so hard.
Right.
They were like, if he can harness it like a Randy Johnson.
Right, like Randy Johnson, right?
Then he could figure it out. As of right now, he's at a 1.54 ERA.
Oh, Kopech?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, when you walk guys, those are earned runs. So, and pass ball, wild pitches. So, yeah, okay. So, actually, Nestor he might be number 2 overall in baseball in ERA. Hey, listen, bottom line, as long as he keeps it up, he's going to the All-Star game. And I hope he does. And I hope he rakes the Yankees over the coals for money.
So,
I don't even know.
Pablo Lopez is the ERA leader right now at 1.05.
Wow. Oh, is that the Phillies? No.
Miami.
Yeah, that's right.
And Cortez is in second at 1.35, and Verlander is third at 1.38.
Yeah, he's
Miles Mikolas is 1.49, and Kopech is at 1.54.
Okay, so by the way,
and Judge is leading the league in home runs, 12.
By the way, if you were wondering, for Yankees perspective, Nestor Cortez, this bodes very well for him. He has 3 more years of arbitration eligibility. Now, what's great about that is, but if the Yankees are cool, they'll do right by him and they'll give him a contract.
Yeah.
But then again, maybe they won't. I don't know. 3 years of arbitration is a lot. That's a lot of control.
You gotta give it to him though, because I would feel terrible because he's a guy in 3 years I could feel like could start breaking down.
Well, here's the thing with him is he's
not in the best shape.
He's not in bad shape though. I mean, I know what you're saying. He's a little chunky, but you know what's funny? You think he'll break down? I actually think he might have a good long-term career in front of him.
It depends because that back, it's really all that back. When you're carrying that much weight in the front, you can have those David Wells issues.
I was just going to say, but David Wells was the only thing that kept him but Nestor's not built like that. David Wells was a fat man.
Yeah. I mean,
Nestor Cortez
is shorter and he has that stomach though. He has that.
But he actually lost some weight coming into this
I know.
year.
And if he can, I don't want him to go crazy losing the weight. I just get worried about the back because, when you're 5 feet nothing and you weigh like 200 and you're putting a lot of stress on your body.
Sure. If you're all gut, too, it pulls you, forward.
So
what I was going to say about him though, is that if he,
the dude's 5'11", 210.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's not like horrible.
It's not horrible, but it's 5'11", 210. But I mean, it says he's 5'11". I'd be shocked if he's probably 5'9".
I was gonna say he didn't look 5'11". That's 5'11's my height. I feel like I'm taller than him, but who the hell can tell on
TV?
When
you got Aaron Judge and Stanton in your lineup,
right. I mean, it's tough, right?
Everybody looks like they're 4 feet tall.
These towers who are chiseled out of fucking marble, and then
Gallo's not short, and
here comes Nestor with his mustache and his 200 pounds
jumping
frame.
up and down, going in the Mario tubes.
Oh, it's great. I love that Mario shirt too that he has. Uh-huh. But here's the thing though, Nestor. If you want, like, if he does this year what he did last year, which is continue on this sort of trend that he's been on, I think at that point you have to say, okay, we have something here. This isn't a fluke. Right now, it's hard to say that this is fluky. I mean, this just looks like a guy with quality stuff who knows how to get people out. Mm-hmm. And I love the way he works too. He works quickly. He works efficiently. He keeps his pitch count down.
Which I also think kind of screws with the batters a little bit, and I think that helps him out a lot. Because he work fast, that's not what batters are used to.
No, right.
Anything to throw off timing, and he knows how to throw their timing off.
And again, let's remember, he's still only 27. Mm-hmm. I would have no problem with giving him a 5-year deal.
He's a guy, too, that you could feel like could be a lefty specialist down the road if he starts to lose it a little bit as a starter.
Sure.
If he can't go more than 5 innings just because but if he can go 3.
But here's the thing. How invaluable is he to this team if he really is like a number 2 or even a number 3? And being left-handed in Yankee Stadium. It's huge.
I mean, he is the guy that you want in the number 2 slot right now.
Oh, my God, close.
Because Montgomery's been pitching well.
You know what?
But there's nothing to fear there.
No, but I will say this.
If he can continue to be great, like for a long periods of time, he'll earn it. But like he also gets injured from time to time, and like
I'm not a big Monty fan, but I got to tell you, what a joke that team can't score for him ever. Like they are allergic to scoring.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this really happens with certain players, and I do feel like it sometimes is the pitcher's fault. Like it's the way that they hold themselves, if they're super quiet and they don't talk much, which it doesn't seem like he does. Like people are going to get bored if he doesn't show a lot of fire. If he's just kind of going out there and just throwing pitches, you kind of get a little bored.
I can't sit here and say that it's his fault that the Yankees can't hit when he pitches.
Well, it's been happening long enough.
I think it's just more coincidence and bad luck, but
there's no such thing as bad luck in space. And like, you're not going to get, like, you can have an instance of bad luck, but you're not having a streak of bad luck over a period of time. Like that's not real. Like the more you go about your business, the better you get and the luckier you get. Like the more you practice and get better, the luckier you get. So I have to say it's probably something with just the time he takes between pitches, what he does on the mound kind of lulls his defense and offense to sleep. Like they just get a little bored.
That's an interesting take. I disagree with it completely, but okay.
I have noticed that. I've noticed that with pitchers from time to time. It's just that pitcher on the mound, your team just kind of is tired. Like your pitcher kind of is the guy that's going to kind of really give you the energy and the momentum.
I mean, he does sort of look like a sleeping giant.
Right. He's just boring out there. Like,
so if he was a 7
most Yankee fans don't, most Yankees fans like don't even really, I don't even really want to watch his starts because they're boring. So like, why would you want to play behind that?
He is a number 5 in every sense of the word.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, every team has to have a number 5. Yeah. He's theirs.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to, and the other key to this season too, of course, is Sevy, because really, if you've got Cole and Nestor easily as 1 and 2, if Sevy is really your 3 and he's solid, that's a good, because really in the postseason, you really only need 3 starting pitchers. You really don't.
Absolutely.
I mean,
and he can be it. I mean, we have to, it's going to take him half a season to at least to work his consistency out.
Yeah. And like, even if Tyone had to pitch a game in the postseason, I wouldn't feel so bad about that.
Yeah. No, he's solid. He'll give you 5 innings.
Yeah. He'll give you 5, 2 runs.
And he'll keep you in the game.
Yeah. His stuff is good.
Yeah.
That was another, again, these are the areas where Cashman excels.
Mm-hmm.
The under the radar-ish.
Right now, so if you were going to do it for real, it's probably, you're looking at Cole, Nestor, Sevy, Montgomery, and then Tyone.
Yeah. You want the lefties.
Break them up a little bit. And Tyone isn't quite the pitcher that Cole is. Doesn't have that sharp, bitey stuff like Cole. There's enough separation there. And plus with your ace, it doesn't matter who's throwing before your ace. He should be able to just get the job done.
And by the way, Cole has responded relatively well since, at the start of the season anyway, with spider tack stuff, and he's pitched well. I mean, he had to shake some rust off earlier in the season. He was way too fired up. Like even in the home opener, he was way too fired up, but he's gotten it together. I'll give him credit. He's gotten it together. I mean, listen, the guy's making $360 million. He better get it together. But
I mean, his ERA is 2.95 now. That's
right.
In the NL East, this early in the season, that's great.
Yeah. Yep. By the way, I am shocked. I know you aren't. I'm still shocked by the Red Sox start. I did not see this coming.
I would say I'm shocked by it. I didn't think they would be this bad. I didn't see a powerhouse. I saw a team that was pretty good to good, and that they're pitching. Like I wasn't sold on Sale being like that guy anymore. I mean, he hasn't pitched in like 3 years.
Yeah, no. To me, the biggest surprise, and look, here's the thing that I thought was, okay, you've got sort of a 3-headed monster in that lineup with JD, Devers, and Bogarts, and sure enough, those 3 guys are hitting, but the problem is nobody else is hitting.
Right.
Verdugo is not hitting. Kike Hernandez is not hitting. Trevor Story has been bad.
Mm-hmm.
It just so far, like, it hasn't worked out, and it's making that bottom of the lineup after the, that top third or half of the lineup, they're just very susceptible.
Mm-hmm.
And it just hasn't, and they're not getting good pitching either. I still think it was a mistake to let Eduardo Rodriguez go to Detroit. I mean, I know that guy wasn't spectacular, but he's a good middle of the rotation kind of guy.
Well against the Yankees.
He did pitch well against the Yankees, and I was really glad that he was out of the division, to be honest. So I still think the Red Sox are going to rebound. I don't think they're as bad as this. They can't be as bad as this. They're not a worse team than the Orioles. I'm sorry. I know that currently they are in last, but they
should. I mean, they should fight for a wild card.
Yeah, I think this team has a streak in them that we're going to see at some point. And maybe it'll happen when Sale comes back. And I agree with you. Like Sale, I think for Yankee fans, it's a weird thing. Like Sale doesn't really scare Yankee fans, but he's still a good pitcher if he can get back and be effective.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think he wouldn't scare us necessarily in a postseason game, but he pitches well against the rest of the league. Yeah, he struggled against the Yankees, but he pitches well. He's a good pitcher. I mean, he's a guy that you want on the mound every 5 days. So I think if they get him back and healthy, they'll be okay. They need some of these other guys to step up, though.
I tell you, though, like the biggest addition, the biggest addition to their lineup is another guy who has like figured out the fountain of youth with Rich Hill.
Yeah,
Rich Hill. My God. I mean, he's 28 innings. 28 innings, 21 strikeouts. And his ERA is 2.89.
Yeah.
It's like no matter where he goes, as soon as he left and like had to come back, he like figured something out. And man, he has been a very solid pitcher for years now.
Speaking of figuring out, the Yankees still couldn't figure out Dallas Keuchel the other day. I'm not going to bitch. They took 3 or 4 from the White Sox, but let's be honest, it's a series. Look, now that we think about it, they should have swept. Because Kiner Falefa with that base. Oh, we got to talk about that base running gaff. Listen, in Little League, you learn not to, because what Kiner Falefa did was took the bat out of the best Yankees hitter's hands. DJ got up and struck out, but he took the bat out of Judge's hands. Mm-hmm. And sorry, I think that if they get that run in, it's a different scenario, and they probably win the game, and they sweep that series. I'll listen. They won 3 or 4. And they were not in that game really until the end because Keuchel was flummoxing them with his assortment of breaking shit. And it's just really annoying. I can't.
You can't break in a very thin pane of glass.
I can't anymore with Dallas Keuchel. Like, can't we be beyond that, please? Oh, God.
It's pretty bad. Right, it's pretty bad that he's that good against us still.
I know. I mean, it's not like he's old. He's 34. That's not really the point. Yeah. It's just that.
All right.
Yeah, let's move. I don't want to talk about Dallas Keuchel at all. I really don't.
All right, let's get it. Let's get into our NFL. Yeah, we got the NFL here. We're going to be talking a little schedule and also a little Tua talk. We have the schedule. If you have not checked out the Buffalo Bills schedule release video on YouTube, you have to check it out. It is quite possibly the craziest, weirdest, awesome thing that you'll ever see. Because after I watched it, I was chuckling and I was laughing. I was like, this is so weird and crazy. But then at the same time, I was like, my 14-year-old son is going to think this is amazing. And I had him watch it because he's a Buffalo Bills fan too. He finally jumped on the ship with his father about 1.5 years ago. He was like, you know what? He was kind of, I think he was a Patriots fan despite me. At first, just to kind of have that kind of like thing back and forth. But then he was like, you know what? Tom Brady left and all that stuff. And he's just kind of like, you know what? I've heard all those things you said about the Patriots. And I think I think you're right. And he's like, and I really do like Josh Allen a lot. So I think I'm going to be a Buffalo Bills fan. And he's like, and I also really like Stephon Diggs. I was like, fantastic. Yep. So I went out and got him a Josh Allen jersey. Mm-hmm. And I have a Stephon Diggs jersey, and that's how I watch the games. But like so he's a Buffalo Bills fan. He actually absolutely loved that promo that they did for the schedule.
It was really good.
And so go ahead. What were you going to say about your Finns and then you also had the lines for their over-under for wins on the season?
Oh, yes. So I thought maybe you and I could both kind of cover what we think, how the outcome of our teams based on Vegas lines. I believe the Bills, the over-under is 11.5 wins. For the Dolphins, it's 8.5. I have the Dolphins over 8.5. I've got them at 10. I've got them as a 10-7 team. They did just actually make a really good signing, in my opinion, a couple days ago, in getting Melvin Ingram to really solidify this defense, give it some more depth. He's a more situational, rotational guy. You don't expect him to come in and be the guy who he was from 2017 to 2019, where he's going to make Pro Bowls. That's not the Melvin Ingram role anymore. Mm-hmm. He's in his early to mid 30s now. He's a guy that's going to come in, provide some edge support, and hopefully maybe rush the passer here and there and wreak a little bit of havoc like he did with the Chiefs last year. That's kind of the role that the Dolphins foresee for him, I would assume. It's a good pickup. I think it helps them a lot. To me, if the Dolphins really want to just put the icing on the cake in this offseason, just sign J.C. Tretter, please. Just get that done and get your center. I know there's some stories out there about his knees might be shot. He's 31 years old. He's really solid. I just want a veteran guy like that in front of Tua, snapping him the ball, at the center position. I mean, Tretter's not a guy that you need to give a 5-year deal.
Can't hear you. You're not there. Not at all. Nope. You completely... Nope. I can see your mouth moving, but no words are coming out. Why don't I give you a quick call back? All right. I'll hang up with you and call you right back. That's the wrong button. There we go.
Am I back?
You are.
Okay. That was weird.
Yeah, your audio just cut out.
Are we recording?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Where did I get cut off at?
I don't know.
All right. Well, anyways, I have them at 10.
You were talking about the center and his knees and then all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So J.C. Tretter, I've heard that his knees are shot, but you know what? Again, he's 31 years old. It's not like you got to give him a long-term deal. Give him a 1 to 2 year deal with, all the guaranteed money in the first year. Just a guy to solidify the position, because it looks like the Dolphins are in kind of go for it, win now mode. And let's be honest, from a talent perspective, other than the Bills, they're clearly the number 2 team in this division right now. I've got him at 10-7. I went through the schedule a couple of times very carefully, and that was the best I could come up with. If they signed Tretter, and now with the addition of Melvin Ingram, I could maybe push him to 11-6. But I think 10-7 is realistic. You got to, as much talent as this team has added in this offseason, they have done quite a bit of it. You got to remember, teams need time to gel. And they've got a rough opening to the schedule and a rough end of the schedule. The middle is soft, and that's where they should pick up a lot of wins. But, you got to remember, teams need time you got to develop chemistry. It's not just going to happen, in OTAs and camp and preseason, especially in preseason, like, you're just trying to get guys healthy through the preseason. You're not trying to win games or, be competitive. You just want to get through there with health to have everyone ready for game 1. In early to mid-September there. So, I've got them at 10-7. I would assume you've got the Bills at least 12-5, if not 13-4.
I do not have them at 13-4. I do not love their schedule, particularly in the first half of the season.
They're a 12-win team.
I think that they're going to be. This is a perfect line for them. Because
it is. Yeah,
I could see them being either 11 or 12.
Well, Vegas knows what it's doing.
Yeah, I could see them. You could very easily say that they start the season off 3-4, and you could very easily say they started off 4-3. I don't see it being much better than that. And it's basically because their schedule is pretty crazy. You start off with the Rams, then you have the Titans, who they always struggle against. And you're going to most likely have their stud running back for them. Then you put the Finns, and then the Ravens, and then the Steelers, and then the Chiefs, and then the Packers. That is a really tough start to the year. And then you got Jets, Vikings, Browns, Lions, Patriots, Jets, Finns, Bears, Bengals, and Patriots. So it's the first half of the season, if they start off 4-3, that's going to be really good. They'll probably finish the year at 12, maybe 12-5. If they start off 3-4, they're probably going to finish like 11-6. And that would, either way, that's a good season.
Still enough to win the division.
Yeah. And I think that I'm not worried about the Patriots. I'm not really worried about the Jets yet. The Bengals are going to be a tough game. No matter what, Belichick always seems to get at least one win against us, even though I'm not worried about him. I'm not sure this year, though.
I don't think so this year, man. They didn't replace anybody, including Josh McDaniels.
The
Who the fuck is by the way, who's running the offense for that team?
Bill.
I'm like legitimately asking that question.
Bill,
I don't know.
Bill's going to do it all.
Great. He's going to run offense. Oh my God.
And then you have, like the Vikings can always sneak up on you.
Yeah. They got firepower.
So
I don't know. That's a 12-win team to me.
It's going to be tough. It's like I said, it's either going to be 11 or 12, and that's where I'm at. I think that they're going to fight for the division, and I think
they're going to win the division. They're not going to fight for it.
Well, if your team's going to win 10 or 11 games, that's going to be tough. It's going to be a fight.
The Dolphins have to split again. The Dolphins got to go forward too in the division because they got to split with the Bills, and there's probably going to be somewhat of an unexpected loss there to either the Jets or the Patriots. But they got to figure out a way to split with them. But they cannot let the Bills just keep beating them by 30. It's just they got to figure out a way to beat. They
have the weapon that always beats up on the Bills, and that's Tyreek Hill.
They do have Tyreek. Yeah. We'll see. Anyways, that's where I'm at. I've got the Dolphins at 10-7, so a game and a half over the line.
And now it's just a matter of if Tyreek can get it done and not be underthrown. There's that clip that was coming out, and I saw in that bucket hat throwing the ball where Tyreek Hill's running and has to stop and come back to the ball.
Okay, so I'll just reread the tweet that I put
thought
out
that
there.
was amazing. So amazing, and I was waiting for your tweet just to see what you had to say about it.
I hope it didn't disappoint, because here's what I said. I said, if you have spent the better part of this week dissecting an OTA pass made by a man wearing a bucket hat, I have no viable life advice for you because you are beyond salvation. And that's just how I feel. Anybody who has the time to look at a pass made in OTA when a guy's not even wearing a helmet or pads, just throwing lollipops in the air. Stupid for the Dolphins media to put it out unless they were actually attempting to troll Tua haters, which maybe they were. Yeah. Any dissection or any article or anything written or spoken about that pass is just sheer lunacy. You're just an idiot. There's really no hope for you.
So you're not worried?
What's that?
So you're not worried?
Yeah, no. Not in the least. Because then they put out another video that showed him hitting him in stride like the next day. So, no, I'm not. Again, I don't even want to justify it with a response any more than I've already responded. I feel like it's just a waste of time. I don't think anything should be dissected in OTAs. Sorry.
That made me so happy when I saw that, because I was like, oh, Brian's going to say something crazy. He's going to be so mad.
No, I just
mad in the fact that there's out there and that people were so all over it.
Oh, it's just ridiculous. God, people got to get a life, man. You got to get a life. You got to grow up.
What are you going to do if in the first game, he underthrows him the whole game?
What do you mean? What am I going to do? I'm going to be like, all right, well, what did we do in training camp and in preseason to work on that? You gotta work on your timing. That's what, all of this time leading up to the season is about.
There's really
timing with guys like him.
Because he can do just as much damage over the middle and all around. He doesn't need to be thrown, because there's only 2, maybe 3 quarterbacks that can actually hit him in stride 70 yards downfield. And that's Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. Those are the 2 guys that can do that.
But how many of those kind of passes happen during a regular game?
Just a couple. Throughout the year, there's only a handful.
Right, throughout the year.
Yeah.
A couple.
Yeah.
Not a game.
Yeah.
A year.
Yeah.
Not a game. Not a game. Not a game. A season. You might uncork a 60.
He didn't do that in a game. He did it in OTAs. Not a game. Right. Not a game. In OTAs.
We're not even talking about practice, really.
I was wearing a bucket hat. I was wearing a damn bucket hat.
A guy wearing a bucket hat. And we're getting Dolphins Twitter. Dolphins Twitter is just there's a lot of the inmates run the asylum. Mm-hmm. Let's put it that way.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, so that's pretty much it for our football talk right there. Let's get into our Mount Rushmore of Hall of Fame snubs. This was tough.
Yeah.
Hold on one second. Hold on. We're playing the clip. Hold on. Got a clip going on. Yeah. All right. We have it. Are you frozen?
No.
Okay. You're just very still. All right. So this was really tough for me. And I had like a list of like 30 people. And then I was like, oh, some of them actually got into the Hall of Fame that I didn't remember getting in. So like I just crossed them off the list and then whittled it all the way down to about 11. And then I took those 11 and I'm like, I can't put that guy in. I can't put that guy in. Even though I really think that they should be like caveats. But like there's certain players in there. And then I was like, I found the guys that I latched on. There's a couple of guys that I really also gave good comps for who are in the Hall of Fame. But overall, I am very happy with this list. But it's the crazy thing is it's going to seem very biased. My list is going to seem very biased because baseball is my favorite, like major sport. Like out of the 4 sports, it's my favorite. And the MLB, I feel like is also the easiest one to get on because it's the hardest Hall of Fame to get in. And I feel like if you're in the NFL and even in the NBA, they kind of let like almost anybody in. And it's kind of waters down their Hall of Fame, which makes it harder to find guys to fit in. So that's why 3 of my 4 are all baseball. And then the other one is basketball, is NBA.
Yeah, I mean,
even my honorable mention is baseball.
Yeah, don't feel so bad. I mean, 2 of these are kind of homer picks for me too. So,
I mean, 3 are homer picks for me.
Yeah, I mean, two are very objective in my opinion, and then 2 are very much kind of homer picks. And my breakdown was 2 baseball, 1 hockey, 1 football.
Okay, all right. All right, so why don't you start off? You go to do your Lincoln.
Yeah, so this is one of the homer picks.
Mine too.
This was my hockey pick.
Oh.
And as a Chicago Blackhawk fan, this also happens to be my all-time. This is why this got as high as Lincoln for me, because look, in my pantheon of sports, right? I have of all of the, I consider, like 6 different teams, right? Like that are my favorites, right? So in baseball, it's the Yankees. In football, it's the Dolphins. In basketball, the Spurs. In hockey, it's the Blackhawks. College basketball, it's UConn. College football, it's Florida State. In each one of those, I have one all-time favorite player. And my all-time favorite player in hockey is Jeremy Roenick.
Okay.
And Jeremy Roenick is somehow, miraculously, not in the National Hockey League Hall of Fame. He is in the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame, which, by the way, usually if you're good enough for that, you're good enough for the NHL version. And what's weird is that, so he has some stats that are superior to guys who are in the Hall of Fame, which is probably the basis for a number of our arguments, right? But he hit the 500 goal mark. He had 513 goals, 703 assists. That's a total of 1,216 points in 1,316 games. Just for instance, former teammate of his, Marian Hossa, who finished with 1,134 points, didn't play as many games, but Hossa won 3 Stanley Cups. And that was one of the things on Jeremy Roenick. He did not win a championship. He never hoisted a cup. It's probably the thing that's kept him out. Also, from an attitude perspective, he was not a very well-liked guy, and that might have hurt him too. But to me, when you have eclipsed the 500 goal mark and the 1,000 point mark, and some guys just look. I watched enough Blackhawks hockey back in the 80s and 90s, some guys just pass the eyeball test. Like, if a guy's a Hall of Famer. Jeremy Roenick was a fucking great player. He was a Hall of Famer. I'm sorry. I don't know. I think it's catastrophic that he's not in. In fact, it was kind of weird that as I was doing my research, I was like, oh God, yeah, I sort of forgot that he wasn't a Hall of Famer. That's really, really weird. So he's my Lincoln. And again, it's a bit of a homer pick because there are certainly other guys that I think you could have looked at. Paul Correa was another one that really stood out for me. That's not in the Hall of Fame, in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Paul Correa is definitely a Hall of Famer. I mean, and he won a championship. So yeah, but for me, that was my Lincoln. Was for one of my 4 all-time favorite overall sports players to not be in the Hall, I had to put him as my Lincoln.
Okay. All right.
Who you got?
So I'm just going to read off here some stats. So I'm going to give you 2 guys here. I'll actually, you know what I'll do is I'll just get into the stats to start. So we have 2 guys here. One's a lefty, one's a righty.
Yeah.
One won 203 games, lost 105. Had a winning percentage, a career winning percentage of .659, right? Another guy, 170, and lost 91. Had a career winning percentage of .651. Okay? And then, from there, you have a career ERA of 3.38 to 3.29. You have innings pitched 2,400 to 2,700. Strikeouts were close to. You have career strikeouts 1,700 to 2,000, almost 1,800 to 2,000.
Okay.
Whips are within like a fraction of each other.
Okay.
One played 14 seasons, the other played 16 seasons.
Okay.
The guy that made the Hall of Fame was Roy Halladay.
Doc. Yep. Okay.
The Doc. The guy who didn't make the Hall of Fame was Ron Guidry.
Gator.
Now, this is a guy who has a Cy Young, 4 All-Stars under his belt, 2 World Series, 5-time Gold Glover, 2-time ERA title, was an MVP candidate, not just a Cy Young, MVP top 30.
Sure.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times as a pitcher in 14 seasons.
Wow.
Won over 20 games twice, was an ERA leader twice. This guy is a beast. And if you look at Holladay's numbers are very comparable.
Yep.
Obviously Hall of Fame. He's a 2-time Cy Young winner. Never once was an ERA leader.
Yep.
He was an MVP candidate twice. He was an 8-time All-Star, but I think that's also, as things have gone on, you have more people, fans voting and stuff like that. And there was a little less, like, I don't know. It seemed like it was just a little different later on. So I don't really hold All-Stars against them too much.
Halladay never won a World Series, right?
No.
No.
So his
Phillies
career,
and Blue Jays primarily, right?
his career pitching in the postseason is also not as good as
Gators,
as our boy. Yeah. Because his where is it? I can't even find it now.
How many Cy Youngs for each of them?
2 for
Doc,
Halladay, and 1.
1 for Gator.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which the numbers, like I said, are very, very similar. And so with him, postseason pitching for Halladay, he was career 2.37 ERA, but that was mostly all done in the NLDS. He was a 1.44 ERA, 2-1 in 3 games. In 2 games in the NLCS, when things get a little bit harder, he was 1-1 with a 4.15 ERA.
Okay.
Now, Guidry, on the other hand, is a little bit different. In the postseason pitching, he had in 7 series total, 5-2 with a 3 ERA. In the World Series, he pitched in 3 World Series. He pitched in 4 games. He went 3-1 with a 1.69 ERA in the World Series. So the fact that he is not in there when he was for a long time one of the best pitchers in baseball and winning World Series and pitching great in the World Series.
Who was the loss to? Reds?
Probably.
Was it 76?
Probably, yeah. So, I mean, let me see. Is it? The loss was to...
Unless he
No,
beat the Reds. And...
It was to the Dodgers.
Oh, it was the Dodgers? Yeah.
Yeah.
In a series that they won?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And he was 1-1 with a 1.93 against them. So whoever pitched against him pitched lights out.
Guess so. Yeah. That's a good one, man. That's a good one.
I know he only has 170 wins, but if you're going to let people in, I mean, I know, and Roy Halladay broke 200 wins, but it doesn't really matter. It's about how dominant you were in a short period of time. Like you have to have a 5-7 years of just complete dominance. And that's what he had.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking from 1977 to 1979, 3 years, 282, 174, 278. Twice he won the ERA title. And then 1980, 356, but then he went back down to 276, then 3.81, then 3.42. And then he had a bad year with 4.51, but then 327, 398, 367. Like, it's just like, I mean, I don't know how. I mean, MVP 15, MVP 21, MVP 26, MVP 2 the year that he won the Cy Young.
Yep. Wow.
In 1978, he was second in voting for MVP.
Jesus. Yeah, that's a good case. He made a strong case for Gator.
I don't see how that is not even like. I mean, I feel like that's what those are the numbers you need in a short period of time.
It's a good comp with
Halladay, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll be.
And Halladay was very good for a long period of time, and I would never say that I would want to face him. I always liked him. I liked watching him pitch.
I loved him so much.
He was a bulldog. He would get out there. He had an immense repertoire. Yeah. But and I thought he should be in the Hall of Fame. I thought he was that good. He seemed like he was always in contention for Cy Young.
Yeah.
There was like a 7-year period where he was always in contention. But if you look at the numbers, they're very similar. And I know people are going to say, well, he only won 170 games. Well, he only played 14 seasons.
Well, yeah.
Halladay played 16. You give Guidry 2 more seasons in an era that's a little bit more fitness friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, Halladay also pitched in the National League too, where he got to face the pitcher a lot. So
correct.
Just saying.
No, that's a good point. Those are all fair points. Very good.
That's my Lincoln. That's my Lincoln.
Good. I like it.
All right. Who is your Teddy?
So
this is going to be my only veer off baseball.
This is my second homer one.
Okay.
So I'm going to do what you just did. We're going to do a little side-by-side comparison.
Nice.
Okay?
I like it.
All right. So the guy who is in the Hall of Fame, okay, just recently elected. This is football, by the way.
Okay.
Played primarily for the Saints from 1986 to 1994. He's a middle linebacker, by the way. Mm-hmm. Carolina Panthers from 95 to 97. Died at the age of 45, too. Very sad. Back in 2005.
That stinks.
He was a first-time All-Pro, first-team All-Pro once, a 2-time second-team All-Pro, a 5-time Pro Bowler, a George Halas Courage Award winner. He is in the Carolina Panthers Hall of Honor. He's in the New Orleans Saints Hall of Fame, and he's in the New Orleans Saints Ring of Honor. Whoa. He finished with 1,319 tackles and 20 and a half sacks. His name is Sam Mills. Mm-hmm. Okay. The other guy played for the Miami Dolphins from 1996 to 2007. Cowboys for a year in 2008. And then he was on the Chiefs, but he was like a practice squad member, didn't even make the team.
Okay.
He was a 5-time first team All-Pro. 5-time. The other guy was 1-time. Mm-hmm. A 2-time second team All-Pro. A 7-time Pro Bowler. a 2-time NFL Alumni Linebacker of the Year, the AFC Defensive Rookie of the Year, part of the NFL 2000s All-Decade Team. He is on the Miami Dolphins honor roll. He has 1,720 tackles and the same amount of sacks, 20 and a half, 17 interceptions, 17 forced fumbles, 8 fumble recoveries. His name is Zach Thomas. He is, listen, with all due respect to Sam Mills, and I liked Sam Mills. Sam Mills was a good player. I don't know how you could put those two guys side by side and not say that Zach Thomas was, if not at least as good.
He also made the Hall of Fame All 2000s team. So
yeah, I said that one.
Yeah. Like that's a pretty big deal. If you're a part of that. Yeah.
He got in the, I missed it too. The stats got cut off there. Zach Thomas scored like 2, 3, or 4 touchdowns in his career too, from like pick sixes and stuff.
Did he?
Yeah, I think it was 2, maybe 2 touchdowns, something like that. I mean, I know for sure he's got the one pick six where he like jumped into the end zone and like flipped. How many? 4? 4. Okay, so it was 4. Yeah, I thought it was 4. All right. So listen, those numbers, in a lot of ways, they're not even like comparable. Like, he's just better. It's a joke. Now, look, do I think eventually Zach's going to get in? Yes. But you know what? He's been on the ballot a handful of times already and still hasn't.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he should have been second. And at the worst, third. And I think it's been like 5. He's still eligible a few more years, but man, what you put Sam Mills in though, I'm sorry, you've set precedent. You got to put Zach in.
Yeah, I could see that.
He is. So look, again, it's a homer pick because I watched him play his whole career, and I watched him play alongside another Hall of Famer, Jason Taylor, who was a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
and had one of the, who's my second favorite Dolphin of all time,
deservedly
so. Dan Marino.
Yeah.
Right. Because he had an endless motor and he was one of the most freakish athletes that you'll ever see.
Yeah. He's ugly though.
Yeah. On top of that, he's like just fucking beautiful. It's just really annoying. And he's got a pretty attractive sister too. So, anyways, yeah, Zach Thomas, man, oh man, that guy. I just don't know. I just don't know how he's not.
I say, yeah, I don't understand that either. All right. So then we'll go to my Teddy Rose. We have, mine is my only basketball entry here. And this is weird for me because I was like, I really would like to see Tracy McGrady in there, but you know what? Like, he just never really made like deep runs into the playoffs and stuff like that. So I couldn't put him in there.
I'm glad one of us has a basketball player because I went through basketball for snubs and I just couldn't find anyone that really stuck out to me.
I was having a hard time.
I'm curious to hear you did, because I'm sure when you say the name, I'm going to be like, okay, that was one of the guys.
Well, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Because this is a guy who didn't have a very, I wouldn't say a super long career. He didn't play like Stockton, where he was in there for like 20 years. Yeah. But he played a long career. He played 12 years. But he was super clutch.
Yep.
He has.
Oh, I think I know where we're going here.
Maybe. I mean, it's not Robert Horry.
Oh, okay. You said super clutch. I'm like, Robert Horry.
I would say it's a different kind of clutch.
Okay.
Let me see if I can.
Big Shot Bob does have the resume. I mean, but he's got all those championships though.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah, but like he was never that guy, He was always.
I know he wasn't.
That's the tough part.
But you could have made the argument though.
Oh yeah, of course. All right. So this is a guy who was making a run during a time where it was kind of tough to win it all because you had my Rockets, you had the Chicago Bulls, and this was a really tough era to like really win one. I mean, there was a 8-year run where you couldn't. There was just 2 teams ahead of you that were way too good. Mm-hmm. And they fought and they did a good job. And I would say that this guy is really, he's probably their unsung hero because they had a guy on their team who was larger than life.
Can I venture a guess?
Yeah, hold on one second. He was larger than life, and I feel like he was a little overshadowed, but I do think that he was the catalyst that was the real reason that this team was making the runs that they did. Go ahead. Who's your...
Well, okay. Well, first, can I guess the team?
Sure.
New York Knicks?
Nope.
Okay, never mind.
The guy that I'm going to tell you is his stats are career, basically 18 points a game, 9 assists per game, shot 50% almost from the field at 49.3, free throw percentage 84, and shot 30% from 3-point land. And this is a time where 3-pointers were not valuable. They did not value 3-pointers, but he still shot 30%, which is solid.
Okay.
And that is Johnson.
Ah, yes, I do remember. Yeah. I do
Kevin
remember
Johnson
looking at KJ I was close, by the way, to picking him.
He was a force to reckon with, and without having people like Stockton in his way, and having the Rockets in their way, and obviously the Bulls in their way, it's going to be tough. But he even came back and played for Phoenix just because Jason Kidd got hurt.
Yep.
Came back and helped them win a playoff series.
Yeah.
Like, that is the kind of guy who comes in, hadn't played for a year because he retired, came back due to a favor, and still was able to lace up those shoes and get the job done. I mean, that is, I think, just an incredible athlete. And unfortunately, he only played 12 seasons. But man, it was, did he do it for Cleveland? I don't remember what team he came back for. But I mean, you look at it, even if you look at his postseason stats, those are also incredibly impressive. And I just don't know how someone like that has not found their way in, considering, I mean, this is like insane. His postseason stats. Is that playoff series? Yeah. So let's see. Points. Get your fucking advertising. So yeah, even in the postseason, you know what you were saying? How like you just want your player to be that player in the playoffs?
Yeah. Yes.
He averaged 19.3 points in the playoffs.
So he was more than...
just a hair more. His free throw percentage was 83%, which is like a fraction less.
Yeah, no, he's a good free throw shooter.
And he had 9 assists a game.
Yep. Exactly
what you want. The only thing is that, let me see, where is it? Oh, they're not giving it to me. They're not giving me the percentage. Yeah, he did shoot a little worse in the playoffs, but I could see that happening. It's 47% instead of 50.
Okay.
I don't know. Those are about as good as you can get.
I will tell you that, so we weren't too far off there, because I will tell you that when I went through basketball, he was pretty much my top guy. He was pretty much our top guy. Ben,
who was the guy from the Knicks that you're going to think?
You know what? When I looked at his stats, I was like, oh no. I thought maybe his stats were better. I was actually looking at John Starks because I was maybe his stats were better, but they were not nowhere near.
I didn't even come up
13 points a game.
I didn't even come up with like a comp for him, because I was just like, his numbers just speak that he should be in the Hall of Fame, and that's just based off of like how they get people in the Hall of Fame. Like that's just, I was like, those seem like legit numbers, and he had a great postseason career.
He would, if I had gone with a basketball player, because at first my goal was to try and do one from each sport.
That's tough.
But I just couldn't do it because I was just like, I felt too strongly about some of the other guys.
And plus, like some of these, like I said, like we said before, the Hall of Fame, the only one that's really hard to get in is baseball.
Yes.
All right. I have like 5 minutes left, so we're going to have to kind of hurry up through the last
cool.
two.
We'll do
All
it
right.
quick.
So TJ, who you got for TJ?
Well, this one I've spoken about many times on this show, and I'm sure this will not surprise you at all. It's Dale Murphy.
Oh, okay.
I have always long felt that Dale Murphy is a Hall of Famer. I know if you look at his numbers on the surface, you might say, I'm not so sure. Because, again, so if I told you batting average lifetime of 265, 2,111 hits, 398 home runs, and 1,266 RBIs, you might say good, but not great. Mm-hmm. Here's the problem, though. The man was a 7-time All-Star, and he was a two-time National League MVP.
Yeah.
Back-to-back years.
5 Gold Gloves.
5 Gold Gloves, a 4-time Silver Slugger, a Roberto Clemente Award winner, a 2-time NL home run leader, and a 2-time NL RBI leader.
Mm-hmm.
It's still borderline egregious to me that guy's not a Hall of Fame. And I was able to watch him a lot in the 80s and early 90s. And to me, he always passed the eyeball test.
Mm-hmm.
I still, to this day, cannot believe that Dale Murphy's not a Hall of Famer. I just can't. I look at him and I think that guy was a Hall of Famer. He just was.
My honorable mention would be a good comp for him.
Okay.
Kind of.
Okay.
Anyways, shorter career.
So let's, in the spirit of moving along quickly, because I've spoken about Dale Murphy a lot.
My TJ is going to be something that I think everybody in the world has ever, anybody that has like a little bit of a what the hell is going on with this Hall of Fame issue is obviously Don Mattingly. Donald Mattingly is was amazing first baseman, was the face of the Yankees for a very long time. And not only that, was probably the best, if not arguably the best player, not only in the in AL, but in the MLB for like 5 years. For like 5 years.
5 years.
And not only that, even after his back still was bothering him, he was still a Gold Glove first baseman year after year after year. And obviously the comp for him is Kirby Puckett. Everybody knows that one. And
the guy who ironically nicknamed him Donnie Baseball.
And that is one of those that still, to me, just kind of blows me away that why he's not in the Hall of Fame if you are electing somebody like Kirby Puckett. Like him, those numbers are even closer than Guidry and Halliday.
And Mattingly won an MVP. And like what, 9 Gold Gloves, right?
I can tell you. I thought he had won more than that.
I thought it was 9. Maybe it was 11. I can't remember.
Oh, oops! I kicked the wrong guy.
I feel like Keith Hernandez was 11 and Mattingly was 9. Because it was like those two.
9. He was 9.
It was 9.
Yep,
okay. Yeah. Yep. No, he was.
But like, listen to this. From like
you don't have to make the argument.
84 to 89, he was MVP 5, MVP 1, MVP 2, MVP 7, didn't get MVP nods, and then MVP 15.
Okay.
And then even in 93 and 94, he was MVP 19, MVP 18.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was like during hurt years.
Yeah.
And then of course he had the postseason of a god.
Yeah.
When he finally got there. Just came up short.
Still
batted .415 in the playoffs.
Still one of my favorite calls. I forgot the announcer's name.
Yeah.
But, hang on to the roof.
Yep.
Goodbye home run, Don Mattingly.
Yeah, that was amazing.
All
right. All right, you did your TJ, right?
Yeah.
Now we go
Washington.
G-Dubs. Who you got?
Well, let me give you the tale of the tape. I think you already know who this is for me because I've argued about this for a long time. And I know you and I will vehemently disagree on this, and that's fine. That's part of the fun of the show. Lifetime batting average of .303, 4,256 hits, 160 home runs, 1,314 RBIs, a managerial record of 412 and .373 for a .525 winning percentage. He played for the Cincinnati Reds, the Philadelphia Phillies, the Montreal Expos, and the Reds again. And he managed the Cincinnati Reds for 5 years. He was a 17. Let me read that number for you again. 17-time All-Star, a 3-time World Series champion, an NL MVP, a World Series MVP, and the National League Rookie of the Year. Nicknamed Charlie Hustle because he reinvented the fucking game. And his name is Pete Rose. And look, this isn't the Hall of Good Guys. Shit, in a lot of cases, it's the Hall of fucking egregious assholes. I mean, there are some horrible human beings in this Hall of Fame. Horrible. And now, because of David Ortiz, I was trying to put Cheater and Ortiz together. David Ortiz. David Ortiz being in the Hall of Fame, there's now a cheater in the Hall of Fame. And here's the difference between one and the other.
Okay.
David Ortiz cheated the game.
Okay.
Pete Rose gambled on the game.
Mm-hmm.
What he did was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, he didn't cheat the game. He gambled on the game.
Would he have won more as a manager if he didn't bet on the game?
I don't know. He bet on his team. That was the other thing too. I always was like, he bet on his team to win. Like he pulled an Aaron Judge. He bet on himself. He bet on himself. Look, I'm not going to defend the act. We all know that Pete Rose is not a good guy. But listen, he's not Ty Cobb bad. Ty Cobb's in the Hall of Fame. Ty Cobb's a big, one of the most awful bigots and racists in human history. He's in the Hall of Fame, comfortably sitting there enshrined in Cooperstown. Listen, the problem is, as these things start to mount up, guys like that being in the Hall of Fame, then you get David Ortiz into the Hall of Fame. You're now making the case even bigger for a guy like Pete Rose. And that's just really what it comes down to. Well, listen, I mean, statistically speaking, I didn't need to run down the tail of the tape for you to know that he belongs in the Hall of Fame based on his numbers. I think we could all pretty much agree on that. Okay. But the bottom line is, I think now, and the reason that I had him as my Washington 2 now is really because of Ortiz getting in, because now that floodgate has been opened. Because I don't know how you can delineate between one is gambling, one is cheating. I don't even know which one you think is worse. To me, cheating is worse. But especially when you gamble, like, here's what I will say. If he had gambled and bet against his team, oh no, I would absolutely have said, no way, no chance. Don't even let him go on Cooperstown grounds.
I don't believe him.
Baseballs.
I don't believe him.
Well, that's fine. And listen, the majority of the people are with you because he's still not there. And listen, in our lifetime, he's not going to get there. In any lifetime, he's not going to get there. It's not happening. He had an opening. He had his opening a few years ago.
And he was an idiot.
And he was, So he dug his own grave.
Yeah.
But to me, should he be there? Yeah, he should.
All right. So my George Washington is quite the opposite of your guy, because I mean, he was a bulldog and he was a fierce competitor, probably maybe one of the most fierce competitors the Yankees have ever seen. And that is a guy who has accolades like an MVP under his belt, a rookie of the year under his belt, 2-time World Series, 7 times All-Star, 3 Gold Gloves, a postseason batting average of .357, on base .378. That is some incredible numbers in 6 series. 3 World Series. In the World Series, he batted .373 with a .417 on base percentage. He was an MVP candidate, top 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times in an 11-year career. And it's only because his life was cut short. But Thurman Munson should be in the Hall of Fame. That is one of the strongest catching performances by any player in the history of baseball in a short period of time. I mean, you're talking an MVP candidate out of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. I won't even count the 10th year, because obviously something happened in that 10th year. I mean, the 11th year. His first year, where he barely played in 69, from 1970 to 1978, he was an MVP candidate in all but 2 years. That is Thurman Munson. How he is not in the Hall of Fame with a career batting average of .292, .346.
Especially playing that position.
Yeah. Gold Gloves. And it was a different kind of game back then. He had to catch some serious, heat behind the dish. People were running him over.
Yep.
And he just...
You, sir, are tugging on my heartstrings because you know how much I love Thurman Munson. So
that is my George Washington.
Yeah.
And with those numbers, I don't see without a doubt how he does not get the nod. I mean,
it's a good one.
No, he only has 113 home runs, but that's okay. He had 3 seasons where he's over 100 RBIs, and that's as a catcher.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know. If he had not died in a plane crash, I think we all know where he would.
If he played 5 more years, guaranteed Hall of Fame. But because he didn't, he still had those. I mean, MVP, 8 out of 10 years.
Yeah,
candidate, and he won once.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good boy. Your 2 Yankee arguments were compelling, and the funny part is you didn't even put Andy Pettitte in there.
No, well, there's a cheating outside.
Well, but see, the problem now is it's like we could have made the whole thing just.
I could have done
the floodgates opening.
We could have done
Ortiz
because if we did, I was obviously the whole list
Bonds,
is a little
Clemens,
Bonds and Clemens. I don't consider Palmeiro because I never thought he was that great of a player. I don't consider someone like another guy. What was the other guy? I'm not going to do Sosa or McGuire because you know what? They weren't that guy before they cheated.
No. I would have put Palmeiro in because it's so rare to have a guy with 3,000 hits and 500 home runs. Yeah. That's the only reason I would have put him.
I wouldn't because he wasn't really
compiled,
that. He wasn't that guy. He wasn't that guy until he cheated, and that's the problem. Barry Bonds and Clemens were that guy before they cheated.
Yeah, they were.
Mm-hmm. So that would have been my argument for them. But I will say my honorable mention, which I have to go in like 6 seconds. Right. My honorable mention. Listen to these numbers: 369 home runs, career average of 316, 1,400 runs. 1,400 RBIs, an on-base percentage of 414, OPS of 953, 5 All-Star games only. How? I don't know. 3 Gold Gloves, MVP 20 in the top 20 6 times.
Wow.
That is Todd Helton.
Oh yeah, wow, Todd Helton.
How the hell is he not in the Hall of Fame?
My Hall of Fame honorable mention. Lifetime batting average of 356. Only 1,772 hits, only 54 home runs, and only 785 RBIs. But one of the greatest nicknames in the history of sports, Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Yeah, well, that's another one that his career was cut a bit short.
Yes. So.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. We will get back to you on Monday. I have to go. I have to sign into another.
Wheel spin. We'll have to spin the wheel next week.
Okay, ready?
Okay. While you're spinning the wheel, we've reached the end of our program. In the words of the great Tony Stark, part of the journey is the end, but we'll be back next Monday. Spin that wheel, Shane. What do we got? How is this only?
How is this only?
Oh, that's the easy one.
Yeah. All right. Peace out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon. Bye.